Welcome back to Planet Bas. Are you used to it? Can you already do this? Listen, it's craziness in my head. So if it's crazy for me and frightening for me, I can only imagine it has to be at times frightening for you as well. But it's also fun. A lot of fun, because a lot of craziness / fun going on in my mind, and I'm trying to propel that to you and put it inside that computer of yours, which being your brain. So let's go back to Japan. My second fight in Japan. I want to talk about Japan a little bit, because the first time I went there, I was filming. I had this big video camera. You remember, now we had a phone, but we had that big thing, and I was considered to be small already. Anyway, I was at the Tokyo Dome. The Tokyo Dome Hotel, which wasn't there yet at the time, but the Tokyo Dome, this big place where they have indoor baseball. 70,000 people can be there. I'm going to talk about that one time because I did a pro wrestling match there. It's hilarious. We're going to back that up with some footage because you're going to laugh. Like I said, it's craziness in my head, and that's what happened at that particular event. Don Fry was there, and he was like, oh, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? But I saved that one for later. Anyway, I arrived there with my big camera, and I had to film what Japan was all about. And I saw Playboy, McDonald's, I saw Subway, 7-Eleven. I mean, all the American companies were in Japan. So I thought we were in Japan. But that's actually America in Japan. Okay, the food is crazy good. The food, sushi, remember, it's 1993. I'm there for the second time, I believe it was November 1993. And we were eating sushi there. Everybody thought I was crazy because we're eating raw fish. Nobody was eating sushi. Not in Holland, not in America. It was just simply not in the world right now. You had a sushi restaurant, maybe you had one in the city. Not like it is right now. But what you have there in Japan is pretty gnarly. It's pretty cool. It's a train, a sushi train. I'm going to explain to you how that works. So you sit down, and there's a little lever. You know, like when you go to a McDonald's or wherever you go and you have your sodas, you push your cup against it and it starts streaming. Well, you have that. Every seat has one, so you can get your water there. And then there's a train driving around. And on that train there are little plates. And every plate has a different kind of sushi on it. Now, every plate has a different color. And that's how they grade you. So whenever you say, oh, I want to eat this, you take it from the train and you put it, you eat it. You save the plate. And at the very end, if you had like 15 plates, that's easy 15 plates, because if it's only 2 pieces of sushi, you know, that's easy. You stack them all, you bring them to the cashier, and you put them down, and because of the color, they know exactly what you were taking. I highly suggest one time, if you go to Japan, to do that, because it's super cool, super healthy, and super clean. Now, you have a city there called Akihabara. Akihabara is called Electric City or Electric Town. And they have all the latest technology. Listen, I saw video screens as big as a building in 1993 and 1994. We didn't have that, not in America, not in Holland. They were way ahead with electronics. Telephones, the cell phones in Holland, every single fighter who went there wanted to have their cell phone. I mean, they could already do anything on the cell phone. With us, it came, what, in 2000? You know, when we really started getting the internet, when the iPhone came out, the smartphone, so to say. In Japan, they were way ahead. They already had that. So we all tried to bring a phone to our own country, but we also knew that it was a complete different system, so it wouldn't work, unfortunately. But Akihabara, Electric Town, again, if you go to Tokyo, I would really go there because it's really nice. Had the latest technology and everything. I mean, brainwave machines. The stuff that you find there, it's futuristic. I can only imagine what they have now. It's crazy. Now, there was another thing that I used to do when I was in Japan, is keeping myself busy. Because I'm a guy with ADHD, and that means if I don't have to do anything for an hour, that's a very dangerous thing. Because I get bored really fast, so I need something. And I found this place, and I can't, for the love of God, I can't find out anymore which place it was or what was the name, but it's under the under a road, a railroad. And it's all these little tiny stores. And we found out that they had like 2 of these stores only, with all these stores. 2 little stores where they sold all kind of weapons. Knives, samurai sword, nunchucks, stars. I mean, whatever you wanted, they had it there. But they also had pellet guns. Oh, now I'm going to talk about the pellet gun. I bought myself a Glock 17 right there, a plastic one. You had to load it, shoot. Loaded, shoot. So it wasn't bang, 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 bang. It was every time loaded. So the power, it was not like a gas one that shoots out with 450, feet, 450 feet a second. It was not like that, but it still would hurt, right? And I actually learned shooting. When I came to America, I bought a Glock 17. And when I went to the shooting range, everybody was like, oh my God, how long have you been shooting? I said, never. I just used that fake gun that I had. It was so real that one time I went back to Holland, and the border patrol, they stopped me because they scanned my bag and they saw the gun. And then one of the people there, he was carrying a Glock 17, and he says, Bas, you cannot take it inside, because they knew me from fighting. You cannot take it into the country. I said, why not? I said, because it's too realistic. I said, this is realistic. And then he put a real Glock next to it. And I look at it and I go, whoa, because the real Glock 17 is also plastic, right? The outside. Of course, there's metal, but there's a lot of plastic. It looked exactly the same. I said, what if I give it a color, like an orange color? He says, Bas, you're going to leave that thing here. Anyway, I was always shooting with the gun. And of course, when I start doing things, I start infecting other fighters who want to do the same thing. For instance, if you came into my room, my hotel room, there were pictures from magazines everywhere, and I would shoot these people between the head. I let people hold a lighter, and I say, hold your hand in front of your eye. I would shoot the lighter out of their hands. And I'm talking about 15 yards away, like far away, for a pellet gun. But it was very accurate. But then we found out that it was fun to shoot each other. But there was a rule, we could only shoot the legs. You were not, of course, to shoot upstairs. And if we would do it on the street, you have to watch out, of course, that you don't shoot other people. So if you're in a crowd, you're not allowed to do it. If you're by yourself, you can do it. So now everybody brought a gun, and we're walking on the street there. So if somebody was ordering, for instance, noodles, and he was eating noodles, some fighter, I would shoot him, and it hurts. You know, so while he's eating the noodles almost dropped. It was hilarious. Everybody started shooting everybody. Video game places in Japan, forget about it. Virtua Fighter, that was one of the big video games at the time. And I was pretty good at it, but it was complete luck, because I was just pressing buttons, and I realized if I press this one, it does something, but I wasn't really paying attention. But the cool part in Japan is this: you have a screen, giant screen, and you're sitting here. And on the other side, there's another giant screen. There's your opponent. And there's a row of people waiting behind me, and there's a row of people waiting behind the person I'm fighting. And if you lose, you get out, the next person goes, sits down. And there are these guys who sit there for like 2 hours. They're so good, nobody can bump them off their seat. But it's really cool. If you ever go to Japan, you really want to do that, because it's insanity. The Tokyo Dome, I'll always talk about the Tokyo Dome, but there's a lot to do there. The Korakuen Hall. The Korakuen Hall is a little tiny place below the Tokyo Dome that holds maybe 2,300 people. We had a few shows there, really nice. The sumos have a lot of shows there as well, but also, of course, in the sumo arena, which is a place I actually also fought. I'm going to come back to that, because that's a badass place, and I got some crazy stories about that as well. But the Korakuen Hall also close by had a sauna. And the sauna there is completely different than it. First of all, this is funny, because in Holland, the sauna is mixed. Women and guys, everybody goes together. So when I came to Japan or America, they go, no, the women and the men are separated. And we go like, what? In Holland, everybody goes together. It doesn't really matter. In Japan, of course, they're separated as well. But in Japan, they know what they're doing. Dude, you go to a sauna place there, you have like 5 different saunas. And they're all different heats. I went to the hottest one. The hottest one, if you want to walk in there, you have to walk very slow. Because if you move too fast, you literally burn yourself. Don't put jewelry on, because you're going to get burned. What they also have in those saunas, TVs. They have TVs behind a wall, and it's cooled down, but you can sit in the sauna, you can watch TV. Then you have steam rooms, and then you have jacuzzis, all different kind of heats. Then when you want to cool down, you go to a cool bath, and then you say, oh, I want to take a break. You're laying on your bed, you have a telephone next to you. You grab the telephone, you push a number, and then you can order, oh, I want a beer, I want a burger, I want some sushi or whatever, and they will bring it to you. Dude, it's the best thing ever. It's really nice for fighters, because before the fight, well, there's a lot of off time, of course. This is not like now. Nowadays, you got to do promotion all day long. You have it there as well, but not with the social. There was no social media, so everything was much better. Also much safer for us, because we're some crazy guys. Imagine all the stuff we did on social media if that would have been caught. Not a good thing. Funny, but sometimes frowned upon. Okay, so there's other stores in Shibuya. There was a store, and Shibuya is also a big going out district. Many times when you watch a Japanese movie, you see this giant crossing. And there's like the zebra crossing goes one way. It's like a cross. Many times when you look at Japan, they show that. That is called Shibuya, that district. And there's a lot of stores right there. And I was there with a store, and this drove me insane. I'm going to sing you a song that they played there. It's ingrained in my mind. And that song will go on 24/7. It was insanity. Now, 10 years later, I came back with my wife and I passed that store. It's the same freaking song. If there ever been a psychopath in Japan, I guarantee you he was working at that store. Me being in there for 1 hour, I want to start shooting and killing people. It was the most insane thing ever. Imagine you worked there for 4 years and that song is it. My wife, she knows the song. She heard it maybe 10 minutes. But it's ingrained in your mind. Imagine working there. I have no clue how some people do it. Okay, so it's time for us to go and start talking about my second fight in Japan. So let's go to my second fight in Japan. Takaku Fuke was his name. Yeah, I know, sounds. Takaku Fuke, Fuke. And he was a good guy. He was the number, I think, 5 at the time from Japan. And this was after I knocked the first guy out, you saw in the first episode about the fighting that we shot, right? So this time I think they wanted me tired or something. I don't know. They put me through the ringer. So what happened was this. On the day of the fight, now first of all, if you go from Holland to Japan, the jet lag is a horrible jet lag. You go from America to Japan, it's an easy jet lag. You fall asleep early, you wake up early, it's perfect. When you come from Holland to Japan, nighttime is daytime. Meaning, like 7 o'clock in the morning is 11 o'clock at night for you. That means you're awake all night. So the thing that I had a Game Boy, and I was playing video games all the time, like fight games, and Tetris. I was really good at Tetris. That song, by the way, drove me insane from Tetris. So I would take a headset with a different song on it, and then I would play Tetris all night long. I figured that, you know, if I can't sleep but just lay down and relax, at least my body relaxes. You can't take sleeping pills, not the ones that they have here. I would say a Tylenol PM, maybe you could take that, but they didn't have that, you know, and you don't want to take a risk as a fighter that might slow you down. So you're awake all night, you fall asleep like 5, 6 in the morning, and at 8 o'clock suddenly I needed to get up, and they let me travel for 7 freaking hours. I take a cab, go to the subway. From the subway, I go to the Shinkansen. That's the bullet train. The bullet train is a train that goes 200 miles an hour. You know, go to all different places. So let me go everywhere. And another cab, and this, then that, then this, then that. And I was getting sick. You know, I was already not feeling very good when I flew over. My manager started carrying my gear. I never had a coach, by the way. I taught myself, so I didn't have a coach. I just had a manager with me. My first year in Pancras, actually, I just had a bag. I was training on the bag, and I would go like once every 2 weeks or so. I would go to Amsterdam and roll around a little bit with these guys there, but that was pretty much it. So I'm sick as a dog. I cannot even carry my own stuff anymore. And at 3 o'clock, they said, okay, I had to go to the place. I said, no, I want to check into the hotel. And they said, no, you're going to have to go to the place. I said, okay, now I'm going to put my foot down. So first of all, this will never happen again. That's the first thing you're going to get from me. The second of all, I'm going to go to a hotel. I'm going to check in right now, and you're going to give me at least an hour. I need to shower. I need to get out of this, whatever I'm in, because I felt really, really bad. So thankfully they said yes, because otherwise I was simply not going to fight, I told them. You know, so I went to the hotel, got myself cleaned up, got my stuff, and again, my manager, I'm throwing up by now. I'm sick as a dog. So I'm going into the fight, and I remember it started off, and I can't find it. It's got to be somewhere online. I swear to God, this is what happened. So I never look people in the eye when I fight, because I'm a hothead. And if he stares me down, he tries to stare me down, I get angry. And anger is the thing that you don't want to use in a fight. Anger is making you telegraph. For instance, if I'm angry, if I'm not angry and calm and I hit you like this. Bonk. That's where my punch leaves. If I'm angry, I'm going to do this. I'm going to load up because I want to hurt you. You see what I mean? So now you're telegraphing. You want to stay away from that. So that's why I always look at the bottom. And most of the time I would look at their bellies. And many times I would see their belly like shake from the nerves. And then I look at their belly, I look at my belly, and my belly would be still. And I go like, I got him. You know, that was my first thing that I would do. But this particular guy was a little shorter guy than I was. And he had long hair. And I'm looking down and I hear the whole audience going, ooh. So I knew he's eyeballing me. So now I go, okay, what do? Okay, intimidation. That was my second thought. So I'm looking up and I look him in the eye and go, Rrr. I do this in his face. And he looks down right away. And the referee is patting us down and he looks up, he says, oh, Mr. Rutten, no street fight, please. No street fights. First thing he said. And I go, dude, I just broke you. I just had you, you know. So I knew I was going to win the fight. But I felt really, really bad. So the fight starts. He saw my first fight by knockout, right? So he didn't want to stand with me. He took me down, and I was a lousy wrestler at the time. Well, still, I'm not the greatest wrestler. I had greatest submissions, but I'm not a great wrestler. He took me down, goes for an armbar. He's got me in the armbar. I'm sick. I just threw up. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to tap. And then the audience started cheering for him. And now my ego comes out. And my ego goes like, I don't want to tap. So I dragged him to the other side of the ring and I grabbed the rope. That was the rope escape I was talking about in Japan, that you could do that. And he let me go. As soon as he let me go, the fight restarts again. Now, imagine I don't have a lot of power anymore. So everything that I'm doing, I need to make sure that I make it count. And this was one of the greatest things. And again, I didn't plan this. This was all going on automatic pilot. I have no clue where it came from. I knew it was already in my head. In training, I would do these kind of things. But to bring it back in fighting, I was just very blessed. Because, like I said, I had no control over it, but it worked out really well. So what happened was, I got him in a clinch. And you're going to see that later into the fight. And I pulled his arm a little bit to the side. And I knew I needed to knee him. And you see, I'm looking down at his belly. And I see him breathing in. And on the third breathing in, I knee him. Because I always tell people, if you breathe in and you get hit, that's when you go down. You can do 1,000 sit-ups every single day. If you breathe in and you get hit, you go down. That's why in fighting, most of the time when your opponent is getting tired, what does your corner tell you? Go for the body. Go for the body. Because once he can't control his breathing anymore, there's a high chance you're going to hit him. Impact on the inhale. On the inhale, getting hit is the worst thing there is because the muscles are relaxed, right? And this guy goes down. It looked like I shot him with a shotgun. That's how hard he goes down. And if you see the knee, it's just like, boom. It's just a short knee. But he goes down. And what do you know? I won the freaking fight. It was insanity. People going crazy again. But then, of course, the third fight came. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. But just see this, what I'm going to show you right now, and see how soft it is. Well, it's never soft, of course, but it's not what you expect, but you will see the repercussions from a knee placed at the moment somebody bleeds in. So here is the fight. All right, shake hands. Yep, there we go. I think I start with a front kick or something. Let me see. Boop, yes, front kick. But he shoots right away, look. No defense. I'm going for the guillotine. The guillotine is the striker's submission. You know, because they try to take you down. But you have to know how to do it. Like, I didn't put him in my guard. He's in side mount. There's nothing that I can do right now. There's no danger for him whatsoever. But I didn't know that at the time. I was just really bad. He's in side mount. He's looking around. And right away, he's going to set up a straight armbar. I believe he's going to step over it a little bit. There we go. He's going to step over. Yeah, I'm a knucklehead. No submission experience. And boom, he's got me. Now, at this moment, I hear the audience shouting for him. I wanted to tap. There was a moment there that I thought about tapping because I felt so bad. But thankfully, we had the rope escapes. And as you saw right now, I grabbed the rope. And that was it. Okay, restart. Here we go again. I tried to punch him, miss. Go for the guillotine again. But hey, listen, if you go for a guillotine, put him in your guard. Because otherwise, you see what you have here. There's nothing there. I gave him a knee to the body. I believe he's going to return it with a punch to the body somewhere. Let me see if my memory serves me well. He escaped the guillotine, which is very hard, by the way. If you cross-face in that particular move, then you're out right away. He's going to go for the armbar again, but he makes a mistake. Now I know, and I get up. Now a knee comes to the head. Just missed it, just high on the chest. Go for the guillotine again, and now I'm looking, boof. And there's the knee to the body. I saw him breathing in, and I figured to give it at that moment. And bada bing, bada boom, he went down. And as you can see, yeah, that was just a perfect moment. That's what it was. You know, it was not a super hard knee, but the placement was very nice. And again, you know, don't ask me how I knew this. I used to do this in training, and somehow it came out in the fight. But it's not like I was controlling it. It was like almost like somebody else was controlling it. And there, of course, there is my Rutten jump. Now they called it the Rutten jump again. Now this guy, like my very first opponent, yeah, he stays on the ground quite a bit because it hurt him. So if you're a fighter, if you're in training, try to hit somebody when they're breathing in. I have a whole bunch of tricks for that. I will do an episode one time on it, how you can make sure that you do it on the inhale, striking on the inhale of your opponent. It's a very good thing to do. That was fight number 2, Takaku Fuke. That was the guy, took him out. I fought him 2 more times actually. That armbar, the second time I fought him, you will see the next time, because I wanted to armbar him. So the first thing I did on him was an armbar, and then I told him, now you got it back. You know, I was so sour from the very first time that he got me, I had to do it back. But that was a different time, because now suddenly I had my submission skills. Well, we're going to talk about that because it's gradually you see me improve. Thank you so much for joining Planet Bas. Up to the next one, and make sure you got to know this, right? 1 forward, 1 backward. Godspeed and party on.